The Buddhist Way of Life.
This week's guest is Shin Buddhist minister Reverend Masau Kodani. He plays traditional Japanese court music, which can be related to Buddhism.
When I was in Kyoto studying, I fell in love with Gagaku when I heard it at the temples. And Gagaku becomes part of Nishihon Ganji in the Tokugawa period because they marry into the imperial family. So it becomes what's called a Monzeki Dera, a Monzeki temple. And so when it becomes a Monzeki temple, Gagaku becomes part of the ritual. So from the Tokugawa period, for Daihoyo, for important ceremonies, Gagaku is used. So I heard it, and I fell in love with it, and so I started taking Shichiriki and learning it at Honza in Kyoto. Gagaku is hard to explain. Most Japanese have never heard it, and when they hear it, they go, "What is that?" Right? But if they listen to it, they all say it reminds them of something old, ancient times, Heian period, so forth. And that's true. Gagaku is the oldest continuously performed music in the world. And if you want an idea of what music sounded like in ancient Asia, that's it. It's died in every other country except Japan. Only the Japanese preserve it because the Japanese cannot throw away anything. They save it. For us here, it does remind us of our roots, our connection. We don't know why, but it does. It's very slow music. It's very, to Western ears, dissonant. But it has this feeling of being rooted. Right? And our kids, Yonsei, Gosei, when they hear it, they all say they feel that. They may not like it, but they feel that it's a connection to something deeper than what they are. And I think that's the power of Gagaku. It does that. We can play any kind of Western music, choral music, organ music. You play Gagaku, everybody sits up straight. I don't know why, but it does. Yeah.
It's a kind of calm feeling.
It's very calming, yeah. It doesn't go anywhere. It's just,
right.
You come in at 1 o'clock, you leave, you come back at 2 o'clock, it's still the same. Cool. Yeah. There's something about it that's very, very powerful. Maybe we shouldn't try to explain it. It's just there. Yeah. It's just there. So for major, big services, we always have as much as possible Gagaku. Gagaku is court music of 3 places. Southeast Asia, basically Vietnam, a place that's today called Hue. It was called Rinyu in those days. China, the Manchuria, Korea, and then Japan. So it was brought as court music into the Japanese court. That influenced, when it split up into the Buddhist and the Shinto groups, one became Kangen, Kagura, and the other remained as Gagaku. So Kagura has the same origin. Before Gagaku comes to Japan, Kagura was only taiko and fue. There was no orchestra as such. So it's a common stream, but it separates. Yeah. But Gagaku is nice. Yeah.
In August 2001, Reverend Kodani performed the court music in Arizona. The music flowed as the sun rose and filled the Namahu Indian sanctuary with light. This is one of the most memorable moments in his life.
Well, my interest in American Indian was in college. I was, for a very short time, anthropology major. And so we were studying California Indian societies. And when we were doing that, it really felt like I was looking at an Asian society. And things that my bachan, my grandmother, told me were very familiar. So I got the sense that the American Indians really are an Asian culture. That's my interest in it. Then when I went to Japan to study, part of my study was gagaku. So when I came back here, there happened to be this professor at UCLA who was from the Kunaicho, the imperial household in Japan, who was teaching gagaku and bugaku here. So I called him on the phone, and I said, we have a temple here and we'd like to start a gagaku group. Would you be willing to come out and teach? And he said, okay. And so he's been teaching us for 30 years.
Over here?
Here. This group, our group, And then he recently went back to Japan and came back for 2 years. So we've been practicing with him for 2 years now. He's about to go back this month or next month. But so during that time, in studying the history of gagaku and so forth, in the early Nara period, the imperial musicians would play at sunrise on the first day of the new year. Gagaku, kangen, and bugaku. And there was no audience. Right? Because the reason was for them to tune up to the universe for that coming year. Right? And we always thought, this is a great idea. We should experience what that feels like. So we chose the Navajo Reservation in Arizona and tried to find a spot where we could do that. And it took about 3 years of negotiating. And so we finally arranged, got permission to enter into Canyon de Chelly, which is like being at the bottom of the Grand Canyon, and made the arrangement. So we drove everything, the railing, the costumes, the equipment, everything. And at sunrise, we were supposed to start playing. So we had to enter the canyon in pitch dark.
Just show me where.
Okay, we're going to set up the stage right here, so you get an idea.
Yeah.
It's over here.
Go that way. So you guys are fine right there.
Okay.
And set up everything and be ready when the sun rose. And we did. And Daniel, who was the medicine man there, he purified the area for us. Set up everything, and then while we were changing into dance costumes, bugaku costumes, 2 girls, Navajo girls, performed 2 dances, and so we videotaped everything. And to thank the community for letting us do this, because no one was there, we went to the local Navajo college and did a performance for them. And they loved it. We had a great time with them. And they said, "Oh yeah, I know this." And I went, "You know Bugaku?" And they said, "Yeah, yeah." I said, "You've seen Bugaku?" He said, No. This is the first time I've seen it, but I understand what it is what they meant. Which is a very interesting comment. They had a connection to it without ever seeing it before. They knew what it was. And when they explained it to me, they were right. That's exactly what it was. So it was kind of a strange connection. We went to the grammar school and did a taiko performance for them. And they responded just like our kids. They were like little Japanese kids responding to this taiko thing. So it was a great experience for us.
This program was brought to you by Bukyo Dendo Kyokai, Society for the Promotion of Buddhism.